Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Tier List podcast. But this isn't going to be a tier list. Yes, that's right, we have expanded. Welcome, ladies and gents, to. We have no idea really what we're going to. Well, we're going to be talking about Liverpool, but we have no idea what subjects we're going to be discussing today. We have no notes, no idea, but guys, that's no problem. I'm Mangan, joined today by Paddy.
Hello.
And Ritson.
Hey, and also, we don't have a clue because everything's been kept a secret for me and Mangan by Paddy. So Paddy's the only one who has a clue what's going to happen and what's going to get talked about.
I am scared, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I have no idea. We have no idea.
Well, we know what's getting talked about.
We're
talking about Liverpool, aren't we?
We're talking about Liverpool Football Club today, not the city in general, because that'd be a bit boring.
I'm gonna ask one of you to explain to me why we're doing this. Let's explain to everyone else.
I don't really know, to be honest.
I guess we just wanted to expand the brand and stuff. We don't want the tier list just to be about tier lists.
I meant more specifically why we're doing a debate about Liverpool.
Oh, okay. Oh, because we are current English champions, European champions, and world champions.
So all three of us are big Liverpool fans, and out of the five of us that usually do the podcast, we are the only three who support Liverpool. So that's why we're doing this today.
You say,
but also.
Nice, easy discussion. We're going to just talk.
Well, you haven't really explained it properly. We're doing it because we disagree a lot.
Do we?
And we mainly disagree via message, and messaging is the worst form of debate you can have because you can't ever get your points across properly, and then you get frustrated, and then you start being insulting. So it's much better to do it.
You're just explaining yourself there.
I'm explaining everyone.
Oh, so, right.
Here's the big moment. What we're doing, what I've got in front of me, is the main source of our arguments.
Okay.
Do we know what that is?
Oh, come on.
I do. Oh my God, we're actually doing this.
I've got football fan Liverpool account, Ritson LFC on my screen. Don't worry, I'm not gonna embarrass you or anything. Okay. I'm just gonna, but if you were embarrassed by it, you wouldn't have tweeted. You wouldn't tweet it in the test.
No. But some of the tweets are just based on emotion in the moment type of thing.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that, and you can tell me. But I'm not going to read every tweet. I'm just going to go through. We're going to look at some of the interesting tweets that stand out to me. You're going to tell us what you were thinking when you tweeted this, and we'll discuss it. Simple.
Okay.
Does that sound okay?
You said don't be too shocked. Keep your expectations low. My expectations have been raised from this. I have to say.
I kind of expected it, to be fair, but go on.
All right, so go on to the first tweet. This isn't actually your tweet, Ritson, but it's something you've retweeted.
Oh no! Oh, that could be even worse.
It's not that bad, to be fair. We're starting off a bit easy for you. So, This is a tweet by Sean, whoever he is.
I think I know.
And it says, Christian here writing a sarcastic piece, taking the mick out of people that think we need signings, when our actual manager saw enough of a need to go after a £50 million striker from Leipzig and now a 29-year-old, 30 million midfielder from Bayern Munich. Yeah. Clearly happy with what he has. Okay, yeah. Now let's talk about transfers.
Okay, so this journalist wrote a piece. It wasn't even a piece. He was just saying, we definitely need signings, and then just went on to compliment all of our players, which is fine because we have a lot of really good players, a lot of world-class players. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be signing people. I mean, I don't get that. He just tried to say that, we should just keep what we have, for a third season in a row, and we'll be absolutely fine.
It would be a second season in a row.
Well. 18-19, and then this season, and then if we didn't sign anyone in the summer, we'd have the same team again. Basically, apart from Minamino.
Well, here's what I think. Last summer, we didn't make any signings, okay? And a lot of people were unhappy. And I saw a really terrible tweet the other day, and you retweeted it, and it made me feel a bit sick.
What was it?
I'll explain to it what I said. It was. I'm not going to take the time to find it here because it was somewhere down there, but it said something like, Liverpool not breaking the record points total this season proves to everyone that we were right about being angry about Liverpool not signing anyone last summer because it shows we've not improved and that City have got worse.
Oh yeah, something like that.
Now that disgusts me a bit. If there's someone out there who can't admit they were wrong for complaining about not signing anyone in the summer when after the season we've had, there's something a bit wrong with you.
Yeah, no, obviously we've had an amazing season. But obviously I do feel we need to make signings because now I don't want to take this comparison literally, okay, but I just want to look at Spurs and how they went through that summer of now we're better than Spurs comfortably, but look at how their team got very stale because they didn't sign anyone. And then even when last summer they'd signed like Lo Celso and Ndombele, like they signed a couple players that just completely went off the boil after like the previous few seasons they'd been like, you know, title challenging for a couple seasons. So that's what I think. And also the first tweet you mentioned about that guy who wrote that piece saying we definitely need signings sarcastically, and then the guy quote tweeted it saying, "Oh well, Klopp wanted Werner. It's well known that, you know."
But did he?
I mean, even the very reliable journalists close to Liverpool have said that, but we just didn't have the funds because of COVID, which is fair enough. But then you see a lot of other clubs saying, "Well, we're going to spend this summer." I mean, even Everton are going to start spending apparently. But anyway, now he wants Thiago. I mean, there's been millions of reports about Thiago now, and reliable sources in the last few days have been saying that Klopp has put it to FSG and the board that he would like him as well. So that's shows that he wants to improve the side still, right. Which he should. You should always want to improve, no matter what.
Okay, all right. You know who the best signer for me was in the past couple of years? Before I say this, let me explain it. Okay.
Hang on. So since when?
Since probably about 2016, 2017, since I've been in uni, because we've improved step by step since then.
Okay.
Shed Shaqiri. Because... No, let me explain.
You seriously need to explain that.
Yeah.
Hang on, sorry.
Let me explain. We just lost the final in Kiev, yeah? Because when Mohamed Salah went off injured, who did we bring on for him? Adam Lallana.
Oh, God.
Real Madrid brought on Bale, Asensio, and we brought on Lallana and Emre Can.
Emre Can was decent.
But
I don't really get what your point is here.
No, keep me going. But that final showed us that we seriously lacked the quality depth we needed to take us one step further. So we signed Fabinho. It was different. He was going to walk into the squad, let's be honest. He started on the bench, but that's how Klopp does it. We signed Alisson, who was going to be our number one goalkeeper, was the main thing. And we signed Shaqiri. Now, nobody thought Shaqiri was going to be starting every game ahead of Mane and Salah, but he was the depth that we needed. Like that.
To be honest, I disagree. I think we clearly needed that depth, but I think his impact you're overstating.
No,
yeah, because
No. I'm not saying he's a good sign for the impact he's done. It's the message, and that's what I think. I think we should sign Thiago because the squad depth. He might not be good. He might be amazing. That's the real.
No, I'm sorry, but Thiago's one of the best midfielders in the world.
But he's also very injury prone.
Yeah, but like you're saying, he might not be good. He might be good. I mean, when he played, like It's whether
Yeah, but there's always a chance a player's not going to be good, but that's no reason not to sign anyone. Otherwise, you never sign anyone. Yeah.
But the squad depth is the most important thing because we still are struggling in that department. I love the fact that Curtis Jones and like Neco Williams are getting chances in the team, but I don't want to see him for another 3 until they're amazing as well. I want people coming on that like are big household name. Like, look at City. Look at City's bench.
We're not City though. We haven't got their money.
I understand we don't have the money from City, but that doesn't mean we can't have better.
Here's my take on this transfer thing. Last season, I think us and Tottenham proved last season that you could, or this season and Tottenham's last season proved that you can go a season without signing anyone and still improve. Tottenham got top 4 Champions League final without signing anyone. I don't think they signed anyone.
Yeah, but the 18-19 season, I know they got to the final, but if you look at it a bit more,
yeah, I know.
They declined.
But what I'm trying to say is, you can go a season without signing someone and it be okay and get better. We've won the league this season, not doing it. So we've proved all the doubters and the haters that we need to sign people wrong. Here's what I'd say though: I don't think you can go 2 seasons without signing anyone.
One is okay. I mean, I wasn't too happy about it because everyone loves a new transfer, especially
Yeah, but everyone loves a new signing, but it's just whether it's the right thing. So you can't complain for us not doing it. Like you can't have it go. Obviously you want it, but you can't like just be screaming and crying for signings if it's not the right thing.
Yeah. Well, I think a big thing was after the Champions League final, there was John Henry had interviews in Madrid saying about how we're gonna, go again and then, in the summer, and we're gonna, make sure that we win the league. So everyone thought, oh, great, we're gonna invest, we're gonna get, people started the typical Coutinho rumors and all the rest of it, and like, oh, we're gonna get this player, Mbappe 2020, all that stuff. Now, I was never expecting Mbappe, but because those interviews, I was like, okay, we're gonna invest then, aren't we? Because I mean, our owners just said we're gonna go again in the summer, but then we didn't, and I think that frustrated a lot of people more so than if they had just said nothing. I think that was a big thing for me, anyway.
I understand that.
Being told you're going to invest, your club's going to invest, and you think, great, here we go. We've got some money. We're going to get maybe a number 10 type of player, and we're going to, further improve. And then we didn't, and everyone was like, well, what's going on with that then? What happened to that?
I understand that. I think if the owners shouldn't have said that. No. If it wasn't going to be the case. But I think it can be a bit naive of fans sometimes to believe everything they hear and everything they see in the media, everything they see on the news about signings and that. So I think we're all agreed we should strengthen this summer.
Yeah.
Because I think you can go 1 season without doing it. We've proven that. But so if we're saying this summer we need signings.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do an ins and outs.
All right.
Okay.
Or maybe just an ins because outs is quite hard.
I mean, I don't think outs is that hard.
It's hard to think on the spot. Like you're gonna miss some people.
Oh, I already know.
I've got one immediately.
Well, hold on. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go through the team.
All right.
Goalkeepers. Okay. Obviously, Alisson, no problem. Adrian, I think we're gonna have a bit of disagreement here, but let's see Adrian. I think I know what you're gonna say, Ritten.
Well, go on. What would you say then?
I would say don't sell.
Okay, Mangan.
I'm on the fence for Adrian. There's,
and I'm going to push him over the fence.
Just doing a job, but there are going to be better second choice keepers out there. The thing is, who would we get?
At this moment, with all this COVID going on, that is nowhere near a priority. Like you can always improve that position, but it's a case of is it worth it?
Personally, I would sell him, and you might hate me for this, but I would get Karius as the number 2 back because he'll be coming back this summer after his contract's finished.
This makes absolutely no sense to me.
Because I think the Champions League Karius had the biggest disaster in football history, but I actually think he's a decent keeper. And I think in the 17-18 season before that final, he was actually performing. I'm not going to say he's world class or he's one of the best or anything, but I think he was performing, quite well, and he was improving.
He wasn't really. His
Adrian,
standards were just so low that he was exceeding them.
No, I think he was performing. I don't think he was performing world class level or anything, but I think he was doing quite good. And Adrian, I mean, the FA Cup, Willian hit it straight at him. He just punched it into the net.
But like,
so that sent us out of the FA Cup. And then
hold on. Don't skip past that, because that's not entirely what happened. That's looking at it quite closed off. For starters, I think Fabinho gave the ball away to enable Willian to have that shot, and because of that, Adrian wasn't set properly in position.
No. The ball comes straight at you. I don't care. You save that.
No.
I remember seeing a replay.
Well, where's the hate for Fabinho then?
Oh, because
his mistake was worse.
Oh no! Right. Here's the thing. Fabinho, after his long-term injury, like for a few months, that I think it was an ankle surgery or something, came back, and for a few games he was pretty dire. In that Chelsea game, he got turned inside out by an 18-year-old Billy Gilmore, and there was a lot of criticism for Fabinho. And although I was like, yeah, he didn't do well there, but the thing about it is, it's a bit different when someone has been world class for you before.
Adrian has made a lot of Adrian had a lot of decent games this season.
I mean, I don't know, man.
You're focused on the two times you're focused on the Champions League mistake, where that mistake could have happened to anyone. It was a costly mistake, but it wasn't a disgraceful one. It was a miss kick for a start, which could happen to anyone. Okay.
I mean, look at Casper Schmeichel.
It's not great, but if we're looking at that, we're looking at big errors like that. I mean, and then you're saying you want Karius back. It makes no sense.
Well, I mean, I just think he's a better goalkeeper than Adrian. And the thing is, if we could sign a number 2 that was better, then sure, I'd probably do that. But I just couldn't really think of anyone. So
it's the amount of mistakes Karius made is so high. It's incredible to think that you'd want him back over Adrian, who's had a lot of decent. In that Chelsea game, you're saying, and not the FA Cup, he made some quality saves in that game at the same time. He didn't lose that game for us. We were terrible that game.
And in Derby as well. Derby in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I've seen, because someone posted a compilation of all basically bad moments of Adrian this season, and there's a lot more than I realised. Which is why I would.
You could do that for any player.
No, I'm sorry. For a goalkeeper who's played about a dozen games in a season, you should not have that many. Some of them weren't exactly errors; they were just shots that, he should be saving. But anyway, I think we're focusing way too long on Adrian because we've got a lot.
It just confuses me. I could understand if you didn't want Adrian and you were let's get a decent backup keeper in, but you're let's get Karius.
I just think Karius could be a better number 2. That's all. I just think he's a better keeper. He's a better shot stopper. And yeah, obviously he's made mistakes and stuff, but I think in that 17-18 season he was improving and his mistakes were getting less. Now I can't remember exactly because we're going back 2 to 3 years.
Do you think that's because Van Dijk came in?
Well, yeah, but the thing is, Adrian's had Van Dijk and Gomez and Robertson, Trent all in front of him the entire time. Karius never had until the last few months of that season a good defense in front of him, and Adrian's had that the whole time. So I think you need to take that into consideration. Listen, we're never going to agree on this. I'm going to just say Karius is a better shot stopper than Adrian. And you're going to say, well, Karius made mistakes, so I don't know. I'd probably just keep Adrian instead. All
right, we'll agree to disagree.
Okay.
Right back, I think. Are we happy with Alexander Arnold and Nico Williams as our options there?
Very happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not be. Now, centre back.
Nico Williams shows a lot of promise.
So. I think we're going to agree on this. Gomez and Van Dijk, happy with that. Matip, happy, but he's injury prone, but we're happy with him as a player.
Oh yeah, he's great.
Yeah. Now Lovren.
Gone. In the words of Claude from Arsenal Fan TV, it's time to go.
Oh God, I thought you were going to say something racist then.
Oh God.
You don't want to say it in the words of Claude.
Yeah, you don't want to say that nowadays.
You never want to say what Claude
You know
said.
what? Lovren, let's be honest, Lovren had one great moment, and it wasn't even to do with defending. It was the goal.
To be fair, although obviously we should sell Lovren, that moment was worth his signing. In my book, that was one of my favorite ever moments as a Liverpool fan.
It was an amazing moment, but he cost us. It's quite funny this, but he cost us the 18-19 Premier League title when you look back to that City game, and also an invincible Centurion season too. And then he cost us the Invincibles this season against Watford, where
I think it's hard to blame all that on one player.
No. But also, he also cost us the 13-14 Premier League when he didn't play for us, when he played at Anfield and scored the winner against us, which meant if he'd not done that, we would have won the league by a point or something. So obviously that's not his fault or anything, but I think it was quite.
So I think we'd all agree with sell Lovren. He's just simply not good enough. Too aggressive as a defender, not composed enough to fit our team.
I mean, the derby at Goodison a few weeks back showed us how bad he was when he
was. Does anyone have any suggestions for a replacement?
Ben White is the only name that really comes to mind right now. I don't know about
Leeds.
From Leeds, yeah. There's been some talk about him, and why not? I mean, I don't know. Has anyone else got any other ideas?
Would you get a big name?
No, it wouldn't need to be big. Just a solid option, just a decent backup option. Just a decent, reliable backup option for me, someone maybe a Ben Mee or a James Tarkowski. I'm not that. That is literally, I've pulled that off the top of my head. I'm not saying we should do that. I've literally just pulled that off the top of my head. But someone just reliable like that.
Yeah. No, I know you didn't mean those names specifically, but I get the type of signing you were trying to say.
Yeah. Okay, so we're agreed on that.
Yeah, I'd probably go abroad for it, to be honest with you. Get someone on the cheap.
I'd go for Ben White because I don't think he'd cost that much, and a lot of people have been complimentary of the Championship. He's English,
he's English.
Here's a shout. Here's a shout that I've pulled off the top of my head. With Norwich getting relegated, what about Ben Godfrey? Or Tyrone Mings if Aston Villa get relegated?
Oh yeah, Mings I think would be a good one. Mings would be a good one. I'd have thought about that.
And Mings can play left back as well.
A
week there.
Yeah, do you know what? I'd do
some solid. We could probably take a look at some of the relegated ones and have a look at that. So let's transition to left back. Speaking of left back,
just before I think.
Okay, go on. If you've got some else.
When we're looking at centre back, I think we should be spending about 15 million. Nothing too much more.
Yeah, maximum.
Not too 20. Small. Not too small, but not too big. We need someone solid as that fourth choice, but we don't need someone.
Yeah, I like great. Joe Gomez and Van Dijk can be a great partnership for years.
Yeah.
So we just need someone to be who's reliable to fill in and who's going to do a job and not make mistakes like Lovren does every time he comes in. So left back, we've got Robertson and Larouci. Now, obviously, Robertson, no problem, but Larouci. Oh, Bournemouth just scored in the 94th minute.
Nice.
Well
done to them.
One thing I will say, have you seen the rumours surrounding Larouci?
I have. I was about to say that.
What are the rumours?
He's leaving. He's going to leave.
Yeah, I mean, he is young, but when I've seen him, he hasn't particularly looked ready. But overall, I think we could do with a backup left back. And
I have that backup left back, in my opinion.
Okay.
Layvin Kurzawa of PSG.
Yeah. I told you about this. He's free transfer, isn't he?
Was he?
Yeah, free agent.
Interesting.
I don't mind that as an option. I'm not a big fan of his temperament. I don't know if you've seen the clip of him when he was playing for under 23s or whatever, and he when they scored the winner against Sweden in the last minute, which wasn't the winner. He went up to all the players and started bragging in their faces. Did a salute sign, and then France ended up conceding and going out or whatever.
Oh dear!
And so they just all did it back to him. But I thought that was very bad sportsmanship. I didn't like to see that. But But
Also,
you know,
another suggestion: Jamal Lewis from Norwich is someone who's brought up.
True, I was thinking about that, but watching him, I think he's quite poor defensively.
To be honest, I don't know. I was just making it because I'd seen people say it.
No,
Not that
I get that, but yeah, from what I've seen, he's poor defensively, and I don't fancy another Moreno in the team.
Nah, honestly.
Oh no, Bournemouth's goal's been ruled out for offside.
Oh my god!
Oh no!
Talk about off the cuff. We're literally watching football while we're doing it.
No, I've literally just got. Oh no! Oh,
Here's the
thing.
Leeds scored an awful own goal.
Oh no,
I say dog, and I was tempted to comment on it, but I thought, no, on the podcast, got to focus on that, not bring up.
No, it's off the cuff, mate.
Well, I know, but still,
we're talking about football here, so if football's on in the background, this is important stuff.
No, but yeah, I think because that was probably the best option. Because let's be honest, they've said that there's not going to be too much money in the bank. I want to get a couple of decent free agents in.
Yeah. Okay, I could back that. Okay, so we're all agreed on that. Should we move on to midfield?
Yeah.
Which could get a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
So if we look at our midfield in total, oh no, we're gonna have to talk about Wijnaldum, aren't we?
Oh yes, we are.
So okay, let's just go through all our options and tell me if I missed one. Fabinho, Henderson.
Well, hang on. If you're looking at defensive mids, you got to talk about Grujic coming back as well. You're gonna have him available if we keep it.
I expect him to be gone. To be honest, fault of his own.
I expect him to be gone as well, but
I kind of want to keep.
If you think about why we bought him, he was not bought as a defensive midfielder. That's not his natural position. Like he started playing there a bit for Hertha Berlin, but
I think he's done quite well there. Apparently,
yeah, I think so. But I feel like we bought him from a more attacking point of view.
Well, it doesn't matter. Things can change.
True, but honestly,
and if he's playing well there,
for me, it's fine if Fabinho goes out. Wijnaldum's fitting there in that defensive midfield position perfectly. Henderson just done a great job there. Milner, there's a lot of players who can do a solid job in that defensive midfield position. So I don't think it's vital that we get another one of them.
I think we're going to get rid of a couple of midfielders this season.
I don't think it's vital, but yeah.
Okay, the rest of them: Henderson, Wijnaldum, Lallana, Keita, Milner, Ox. Have I missed one?
Jones.
Okay, Jones, but 2-0 Southampton.
Who scores?
Che Adams.
Oh well, that's not what I wanted.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But
okay, I've lost track here.
yeah, that's your fault.
We're talking about what midfielders we have.
The midfielders. Okay. So Henderson, we all agreed, fantastic season. Keep him easy.
Yeah, great season.
Oxlade, interesting one. What are we saying with him?
Right, my opinion's split on Ox because obviously I think we all like Ox, right? For he's a very likable guy, and obviously before the injury, he was really becoming a really good player for us. Starting most games, and obviously that goal against Man City is quite iconic. However, it's been 2 years since that injury. I know it was a bad injury, like probably as bad an injury as you can have, but he's had, this entire season now, and he had a great game against Atletico, true, but overall his performances, when given a chance, have been a bit... I don't want to be mean to Ox because I like him.
Yeah.
This is why I'm split, because he clearly has talent, but that injury, I think, is really... It has. He's always been injury prone. That's one of the things that's been difficult for him. I really like Ox as well. Here's the thing. If we sold Ox, I'd be okay with it, but I really don't think we will get rid of Ox. So
But if someone said, right now, make a decision, sell or keep Ox.
Well, it depends how much was offered.
Because I'm kind of on the same lines. If he left, I wouldn't be devastated.
Yeah,
I'd liked him to stay a bit longer, give him one more season. and see if he can break his way into that team in any way and help us. Because I think he deserves another a little bit, bit more time, a bit more of a chance. And I think he is a good player for us when he plays. He's had an average season, but I will.
You never know. Like, obviously, he had the worst injury you can possibly get, or at least top 2 with an Achilles tendon.
So in my opinion, he deserves another chance. Do you guys agree?
Yeah,
I'm absolutely fine. I would absolutely be fine with that. I would, but again, if someone goes is 25 million, I'd be like, yeah, all right, see you later.
Okay, go on, Mangan. Yeah, sorry.
I think he's going to get another chance. I think if he doesn't do anything by the end of next season, I think we're going to be looking at a completely different subject.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I also think he'll be given another season. I can't see us getting rid of Ox, to be honest.
Yeah, I think he deserves one more season. Let's see how he does, and then we can think about moving him on. If not, okay, Lallana, he's going already. Yeah. I want to take a moment to appreciate. He's he got injured, but when he did play for us, he's been good. He gave everything. He fit Klopp's system perfectly. He was one of the best players when Klopp came in his first season. So respect to him, and I hope he goes on and goes and plays for a good team.
He'll be great for Leicester, I reckon.
In the his first couple seasons with us, he was really good, and he was one of our best players. And then he got a bit injury prone, and then his performances went down.
It's just the injuries. Like, I don't think he ever performed terribly for us. It's just injuries.
No, I think the injuries
really set him back.
Yeah, the injuries set him back, and obviously it's completely different from Ox because he had absolutely major injury. But I do think that they destroyed his rhythm, and he just couldn't really get back to that level where, I think 16-17, I think was his best season. I think, but I can't fully remember. But I'm just trying to go off memory here. I think 16-17 he was probably his best season for us. I just remember him being, one of the leading guys.
What I mean. Good luck to him. I hope he does well at his next club. Nothing bad to say about.
Actually, there is a bad thing to say about Lallana. Okay, because I unfortunately made a stupid bet on Twitter where we brought on Lallana against Man United when we were 1-0 down. And I wasn't happy about this because we had K2 cost us 50 million. So I was like, oh, give him a chance in this big game to make a difference. And I said, well, if Lallana scores the equaliser or winner, I'll change my entire Twitter to, represent Lallana and all that. And then obviously he scored. So I had to call him the greatest of all time. And
there you go. This is why you don't make silly bets.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I'm going to save two of the most interesting people to talk about till last. Yeah. So what about Milner? James Milner, what are we thinking here?
I think he's going to go.
I could see him staying another year and possibly covering at left back, depending on our signings.
I think he's going to go.
But I don't. I'm not asking whether you think they're going to go. I'm asking, would you personally let them go?
Oh, I'd keep him till he retires and keep him as a coach. But he's got to think where he's going to get played. He's coming towards the end of his career now. His hometown club Leeds have just gotten promoted to the Premier League. Would he want to have one final last?
He might want to spend his last couple of years there. Who knows? But
no, Milner has been an excellent servant for the club. We brought him in on a free from City, and he has probably exceeded the expectations of what we expected from him.
But he's just done what he does at every club, and that's a solid job, hasn't he? He's just apart from his corners, they're atrocious.
I've always said about James Milner, you get a 6 or a 7 with him. It's very rare you get anything lower or higher. He just does the job.
To me, it's important we keep him because I know Carragher said experience is overrated, and I agree. But you do still need a little bit of it. It helps. He's good for the dressing room. He gives us, he gives us everything on the pitch every time. He's got some good technical ability, of course. He can cover in multiple positions. I think he's a good player to have around, and I'd keep him.
Yeah. Okay. The only negative point I can see is the wage he is on. and the fact that if he did leave, that could free up money to spend elsewhere because we'd be saving. I think he's on 7 million a year.
Yeah, he
now,
basically took over Gerrard's wages.
For a player who doesn't play for us much now, I think that is very excessive. Now, I agree with everything you've said about Milner being a good servant, can play multiple positions, done a solid job, all the rest of it, the 6 and 7 every match kind of thing. But especially during these times with COVID affecting, finances, I think maybe it could be wise to move him on. However, it depends because he is really our only cover at left back if Robertson's injured. And he's actually done decent at left back when, the few games he's been there. Now, obviously not as good as Robertson, but if we were to sign a backup left back, then if this was Football Manager and I signed a left back, I'd get rid of him.
Well, personally, I would think the best course of action would be to offer a new contract with a lowered salary.
Yeah, well, that would be.
And then we leave the ball in his park. Then we say, "You either sign this or we move you on." Simple as.
Yeah, because obviously he could just go back to Leeds, and that'd be nice for him to end his career, at his boyhood club and all the rest of it. So I would probably sell him to Leeds because I think for him that'd probably be the right thing. He'd play a lot more there, and it's a nice way to end the last couple of years of his career. And also it's good for us in terms of frees up wage. Now obviously he has that experience, but I think our squad has gained a lot of experience in the last few years anyway, and I think we have plenty of it. You think about the games we've played, the moments we've went through and stuff. I think we have more than enough experience to cross the entire team now to not need a full-on veteran also in the dressing room.
Right, let's go to attackers now because I really don't want to talk.
Wait.
I really don't want to talk about the next couple of guys.
We have to because that's one of the main reasons we're here in the first place. So, who do you want to do first? Thiago or Wijnaldum? No, not Thiago. Keita or Wijnaldum?
Let's do Keita first. I'd keep Keita 1,000,000%.
It's your funeral.
Okay.
I'd keep Keita.
We'd all keep Keita for a start. Let's get out. Let's. Why are you such a big fan of
him? I think he offers something different than any of our other midfielders. And I think he's a visually pleasing player to watch, which with our other midfielders, you don't really get that same sense. Not saying they're not good or anything, by the way. Just when you watch a football match, you want to enjoy the football that's being played, right? So having someone who can dribble, take on a couple players, do some nice turns and nice little through balls, flicks, that kind of thing is great. Also, it's not just that, but I do think he's a very talented footballer. And his injuries he's been very unlucky with injuries because before he actually joined Liverpool, he barely had an injury in his entire career. And, now obviously he was quite young anyway. He was like 22, 23 when he joined us, but he'd still had, a good 5 years and he'd barely been injured. And then obviously, I think it was Napoli, was it when he had that first, pretty major?
He definitely got injured again. He definitely got injured against Napoli. I don't know if that was his first one, but he definitely got a big injury.
I think that was the first, at least significant one. And that was very unlucky because obviously we know when a new player comes to Liverpool, Klopp does like to give them the time to settle without just throwing them in the team. Now, he actually did start Keita in the first few games of the season, which was surprising in a way because everyone expected, along with, Fabinho, who signed the same summer, who was, put on the bench mainly to give time to settle. No, I think it was just really unlucky that injury against Napoli, and then the injuries that have followed since. However, since restart after the lockdown, I think he's been very impressive in the few games he's played, and everyone seems to agree on that. I don't really think there's any disputing, the promise he showed since we returned to the Premier League. Is there?
No, my problem with Keita is not him; it's people's obsession with him.
It is the personality cult that has surrounded them.
Well, you see, here's the thing, because there's a lot of people that you see who try to discredit him and criticize him unfairly.
Is it unfairly?
Well,
he's clearly underperformed since he's been here.
Well, I mean,
so is it unfairly?
Can you really say he's underperformed? Really? Like he's not played a load of games, has he?
Well, I mean, he has. It's been this. We can't say you're happy with what Kate has done for us.
Well, I mean, I wish he'd played more games because then I think we would be happy with what he's done for us.
But when he has played, he's had some good games, yeah. But he hasn't lived up to anywhere near the transfer fee.
Well, yeah, obviously he's not. You can't have played as few games for us as he has, and then be like, oh yeah, he's been worth the 50 million. No, but at the end of the day, he's 24 or 25 now. He's early to mid 20s. He's got plenty of years ahead, and we know how good he was for Leipzig. I mean, he was I think he was voted as the second best player in the league in the season we agreed to sign him a year later. He's been seen by a lot of people and professionals in journalism or coaches or whatever back in Germany as one of the best players in that league and someone who could go right to the top. So I think that's why a lot of people like me do defend him a lot and would like him to get all the chances he possibly can going forward.
But I still think although I don't particularly agree, I still think it's fair for people to criticise him.
I know, but it's when people say, "Oh, we should sell him. He's useless. He's poor. He's this."
No, but
there's words that you can't really use that people use.
That's football Twitter rearing its ugly head again.
Yeah, but then see that's the thing because then you got one group will start going, "He's this, he's this, is this." When he's like, "Well, he's been injured. Like, give him a bloody chance." It's not like he's played a full season, injury free, and still being like being useless or anything. But then they'll go on, and then obviously you then get the other group who are like, "Oh, that's unfair," blah blah blah, and then they get more attached to a player because they're getting criticised a lot, and then you get into a big dispute, and that's what happens.
Well, yeah, the problem with football Twitter is there's no balance. It's either you overly criticise someone or you overly praise someone because someone's overly criticised someone. And that is the problem here. There's no balance with football Twitter, which is a problem. So that's why there's no well thought out good debates on football Twitter.
I'll be honest, I've never seen Naby Keita criticism on Twitter.
It's all love. No. There's a lot of it's typically older fans like the 40 to 50-year-olds, and they're like, well, he's awful, he's this, he's that, he's a defensive liability even though he's not, and they just try and put him down. And
here's my take. I don't like the over praise of him, but I don't like the over criticism of him either.
Yeah.
My stance on him is that I can see there's a player there clearly. I need to see more from him, and I can see. I think we are going to see more from him.
I understand that point, and I also want to see more from him too. But if we go into stats, right?
Oh no, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go indeed, Paddy. If we go into stats about Keita, his numbers are, they're absurd. Per 90 stats. Now, here's the thing, because a lot of he's had a lot of games where he's come off the bench for 20 minutes or something. You don't really get much of a chance to do something, especially when you're a centre mid as well. It's harder. Like if you come on as a sub, as a striker, you're probably going to get a chance or two to score a goal, and that's where you show yourself. But as a midfielder, it's harder to notice someone coming on for 20 minutes, especially, with how injury-ridden he's been in the last, since he's joined us. But if you then take those numbers into per 90 metrics, like I've got up right now, his numbers are insane. There's a website called Football Slices. It shows pie charts. Now you can select different types of templates.
All right, Richard, we're not sponsored by these guys. Just move on.
But I'm saying he's he ranks in like the top 1% for expected assists, shot creating actions, passes into the final third, progressive distance with the ball, pass completion, successful dribbles, successful pressures, and tackles won, which is a surprising one considering a lot of people try to say he's defensively not solid, but whatever. But his numbers are very good, so that's why I think a lot of people defend him a lot, is because they get told these things, they see these things, and they think, well, if he gets into a proper rhythm with no injuries, he could really be special.
What does expected assists mean?
I don't like that as a start.
It's for assists that they never made.
No,
I don't like that as a start.
No. It's not for assists that they've never made. It takes into account assists that are made too. Expected assists is calculated on chances that they create. So if Keita does a through ball, or anyone does a through ball to Salah, or they pass it to Salah in a position and Salah takes a shot, there's numerous data and calculations that go into making up what chance that player has of scoring from the position they're in, and then those are added up. So, like, say if you're 1-on-1 with the keeper and no defenders are near you, then that'll be an expected goal, like point, I don't know, 5, 6, 7. It'll be a lot higher than if you have a pot shot from 30 yards out. That's what it means.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that.
I don't like stats that aren't actually stats. I don't like stats at the best of times, but when they're predicted stats, I'm not a fan. But I get what you're saying.
They're not predicted stats. They're stats from what's happened already.
But they're predicting like expected assists.
Yes, because so there's expected assists and then there's assists per 90 as well, right? So if assists per 90 is how many assists you get every 90 minutes. Expected assist is, well, what kind of chances have they created in terms of relation to the assists they've actually gotten? So Bruno's actually an interesting one, because quite a few of his assists have been like 5-yard passes to someone who then dribbles the ball forward, takes on a man, and then shoots it, edge of the box, like Marshall's done a couple times. And his expected assist is a lot lower than his actual assists is. So that's like an example of him outperforming it, because the players he's passed to have exceeded expectations. But anyway.
Well, okay. I think we've talked about Keita too much. We agree we'd keep him, and we need to see more from him. I think we'd all agree we'd keep him.
I think, can we all agree that he could definitely be a really special player for us in midfield if things go right?
Yeah,
okay.
But I don't just want to see him get more game time. I want to see him do. It's not all about the game time. He needs to do more when he's on the pitch. I know he's starting to show some real good promise, but I still want to see more, because he's got to convince Klopp.
Yeah,
like that's his job, to convince Klopp, and it's not all about Klopp's selection. Keita has to take responsibility as well, and he's got to give Klopp no option.
Yeah,
essentially. Okay, is it just Wijnaldum we have to talk about now?
It is indeed.
Speaking of Twitter being overly critical,
here's example number 1. Do we hear your take on Wijnaldum first, Ritson?
No, you guys go first. Do you want
to go on me, Mangan?
Yeah, you go.
Of course. Put all on me. Okay, definitely overcritical on Twitter. For a start, he's not one of those players that gets incredible stats. I think a lot of people will judge him based on that for a start and say, what does he do for the team? Secondly, another argument I'll hear is he fits the system. I actually don't think he does fit the system, because if you look at what he was brought in the Premier League to do, he's a goal-scoring midfielder. He doesn't get anywhere near the goal in our system. And if you look at how he plays or what he does for the Dutch national team, they get the best out of him. He fits their system a lot better than he fits our system. But what I would say is he performs an important role in our team that's underrated because I think our pressing system is for the two wingers to force the play inside to the middle, and then the two centre mids have to be super energetic, super good at pressing, and win the ball back there. And that's one of his biggest qualities, is winning the ball back high. So he's super energetic, super strong, good at winning the ball back. And in terms of what he offers in transition, he's incredible at starting counterattacks with his passes and driving us forward from midfield. I agree. I think if there's one position in our starting 11, if you look at our best starting 11, if there's one position where we could improve there, it would probably be to take him out and put someone like a Thiago in. But I still don't think we should sell him, because I think he's a fantastic squad depth option to have. And I think he offers more than people give him credit for. There's my preachy rant.
I was looking at Twitter, I think, this morning, and funny enough, Wijnaldum was trending, and it was just people saying, I don't get where all the hate's coming from, and I don't. This man has done bits for us. Like, he's won games for us. I can think of like 3 off the top of my head. He's won like Spurs last season when we were keeping up the winning record. Sheffield United this season when we were struggling to break him down, and he scored against them. I mean,
okay, we can't really
Barcelona.
game.
But I get what you're saying. No, I agree, man. I think the hate is way overstated. I think, can we do better in that position? Yes. Is he not important to us, and does he bring us nothing? Absolutely not. There's a lot more that he brings than people give him credit for.
Right. Okay. Firstly, Sheffield United, I don't think you can really say, because of it went through the keeper's legs. I mean, it was
still a goal, man. It was still a goal.
No, but come on, it's not like he scored, like he was a good finish or anything. Like, come on. Right. Also, he has had some great moments for us. I can remember he scored against City and obviously Barca game last season. He came on off the bench, scored 2 goals, crucial goals that allowed us to go to the final and win the competition. However, no, I don't hate Wijnaldum. Can I just?
Oh, it sounds like.
Well, your Twitter would suggest differently, if I'm honest.
I mean, I personally would really like to see him leave and us get Thiago. That would be a great scenario for me. I'd love that, because I think Thiago's
why can't you have Wijnaldum kept and get Thiago?
Because then we'll have like 8 centre mids.
Well, we will, because we can sell others. Well, Lallana's going for a start, and maybe we could sell out Milner or not.
I'm not talking about a lot. So you got right. Fabinho, Grujic might stay, might go. We don't know. Ox, Keita, Jones, Milner, Wijnaldum. That's like 7, I think, right there.
Or if you say Grujic doesn't come back in,
yeah,
what
but then
would be wrong with having Wijnaldum?
And then also, if we sign Thiago as well. So
yeah, but you'd still want Grujic and Thiago in your ideal scenario.
Yeah.
So why not Wijnaldum instead of Grujic? Surely Wijnaldum's better than Grujic.
Well, I mean, I couldn't say that, because I don't think I've watched Grujic enough. But also, firstly, Wijnaldum's wages are a lot higher than Grujic. Now, I'm not saying that that's a reason to sell Wijnaldum and keep Grujic, but I feel like Grujic could be a really good understudy to Fabinho. Now, I know Wijnaldum has played in like the 6 role as well, but then if we look at other midfielders, you got Henderson. Obviously, he's had a great season. Ox, who we've just discussed before, is like we want to give him another chance, and then you got Keita, and then maybe Thiago. Hopefully, it'd be so good if we signed him. But anyway, that's more for the ins. Wijnaldum, right? You said before about him pressing very well, winning the ball back a lot and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't really actually win the ball back that much at all. When you look at it, I mean, I'll tell you what. Right, Henderson is a good comparison to Wijnaldum, I think, because they're both energetic midfielders, as you said, in that workhorse type midfield that we've had over the last 2 seasons. But if we compare the two now, Let me just get this up. Henderson's numbers completely exceed Wijnaldum's. I mean, like, we're talking huge differences. But the thing is, if you look at a lot of midfielders, who aren't like attackers or like more box to box type midfielders, a lot of them do seem to outdo Wijnaldum, at least statistically. Now, Wijnaldum does 5.1 successful pressures per game, so that's to do with the whole pressing and stuff. But he only ranks in the 36th percentile, which means 64% of midfielders in the league are pressing more per game than he is. So I don't actually think that is his game particularly. Henderson ranks in the 73rd percentile, meaning only 27% more midfielders are doing. And the thing about Henderson is he does a lot more than just press, to be fair. Wijnaldum statistically is probably the worst player in the Liverpool team. Now, I'm not saying that makes him a bad player, but I do struggle to see his exact role for us. Now, a lot of people bring up about him covering space in the channels for like when the fullbacks go forward and stuff. But I'm thinking, well, I'm sure we could get any decent solid midfielder, put them under Klopp, get them trained under him, and for them to perform the same role as well.
But think about it: if Klopp is playing Wijnaldum in every game,
right,
we've got the best managers in the world here. There must be a reason Klopp is playing him in every game and likes him so much.
Yeah, but okay. Well, Ox isn't going to do that defensive stuff as well as Wijnaldum does. Keita's had injuries throughout the past 2 years. Otherwise, I think he'd be starting ahead of Wijnaldum. Lallana, right? If he hadn't got injured, I think he'd be playing ahead of Wijnaldum in that type of press and roll, box to box, etc. I think if we had Lallana 16-17, I think he'd do a lot more than Wijnaldum has done. But I don't think Wijnaldum's a bad player. But is he good enough to be starting every week for Champions League winners, Premier League champions, world champions, whatever? No, I don't think he is. And well, you did say, to be fair, that if there's one position we could improve in the team, or if we had to improve it,
I still think Wijnaldum's very good. But if you're pushing realistically, you've got to always look to improve, no matter how good you are.
Yeah.
That is probably somewhere where you say we could maybe do a bit more balance and put like a more creative midfielder in there instead of him, but who can also press from the front and also has that ability as well.
Well, here's the thing, right? Now, you're going to hate me for this, but I'm going to bring up Keita again. I think Keita's pressing can be taken... Right, that Brighton game where we won 3-1 the other week. Keita, for the first goal, Keita's pressing was exceptional. He delayed it, waited for the pass to be made from the keeper, and then pounced on the defender.
Keita's an incredible presser from the front. That's one of the reasons why we bought him.
Yeah. So, and then also the other goal, he made the interception. Again, making sure... It's so smart when he did it because he waited until he saw the guy's foot was in motion to make the pass, and then he ran. So he'd be able to get to the ball before it got to the defender. And then he passed it to I think it was Salah, who then laid it off for Henderson. So that's why I'm saying, and also I think he does a lot more going forward than Wijnaldum does. I think technically he's the best midfielder we have with his dribbling, ball control, etc. Now, a good thing about Wijnaldum is he's press resistant. He's good at, keeping the ball, retaining possession. But I think Keita or someone like Thiago is just as good, if not better, as well as being better in basically every other area. Now, that's no shame because I think Keita has world-class potential and Thiago has been one of the best midfielders over the last half decade, really, for Bayern Munich. So there's nothing wrong with that. However, I think it'd be quite easy to replace Wijnaldum in our team. But I'm not saying he's bad or anything like that, okay? But I do think when you look at the other players, you think, oh, I don't know, who could we get who'd be, a definite, improvement in that position. I don't really think you can do that with any of the other players, especially if we're looking at people who we could actually maybe get instead of like, oh, well, who could we get better than Salah? Oh, we'll just get Messi. Well, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, realistically,
yeah, we're talking about, someone who's like quality, but not like, Ronaldo, Messi, who we'd never go for because they earn $500,000 a week. So that would never fit us.
Okay, here's my closing remark. It's a question. With Ox and Cater's injury proneness,
yeah,
Milner's getting on, Lallana's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Is it wise to sell Wijnaldum, or is it smarter to have him there as good squad depth that can be as a match to City,
right?
Especially when our midfield requires so much like effort and energy. It's a very intense position under Klopp. It's good to have depth there. Is it wise to let someone as energetic and as good for Klopp as Wijnaldum?
Right. Firstly, I'd say if we don't sign a midfielder, then I'd keep Wijnaldum. He's in the last year of his contract now. Now, I don't know if he's going to extend or not, but if he doesn't extend, then I think we do need to look at selling him so we don't lose him on a free. Because I think we could get some decent money for him as well. And I do think you have to look at it from a business perspective. You can't just let his contract run out and him go for free unless it is the only option available.
True.
But yeah, if we didn't sign Thiago, I'd really be gutted because there's been so many rumors from very reliable sources who've, been the first to break other transfers in the past for Liverpool too. So it would be really disappointing now if that didn't go through. And if he did come, then I would definitely think that Wijnaldum should and would leave.
Okay, any closing remarks on Wijnaldum, man?
No, I think you said everything. I think it's still unfair how he gets hounded by the Twitter fanatics.
I think some of the criticism is a bit over the top. Now, I've said some things on Twitter, but I don't think I've said anything that bad. Like he's not a useless player, and he's had some great moments. However, I think a lot of people, I'm not saying you guys, by the way, but a lot of people online seem to defend Wijnaldum and say, oh, well, what about the Barca game? I'm like, well, you can't just defend a player because of one great game. I mean, does that mean we should just keep Origi forever on the bench as our main backup forward?
Well, we'll go on to that. We'll go on to Origi in a minute. But this is an ins and outs thing.
Yeah.
So in midfield, are we talking Thiago for next season?
Yes, 1,000,000%.
I think we'll be behind that. I think if you're looking at one area in our midfield or in our whole team, that could be improved in the first team in terms of balance.
Being able to play a midfield of Fabinho, Thiago Henderson, or Fabinho, Thiago Keita, it depends on who we're playing and how well those all work together. But being able to rotate the likes of those four would be exceptional.
That's exciting. That's exciting.
It'd be very exciting to have.
To me, Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago, that is a I think that is a lethal midfield.
I think that defines balance, doesn't it? And
the
thing is, that I think Fabinho, Henderson, Keita would also be that.
I still think it's balanced because if you look at City's midfield, how City have done it, Fernandinho, De Bruyne, and David Silva. You'd maybe at first you'd say that wasn't balanced, but that's been one of the best midfields in the world,
and that's why. Yeah, and that's why I think you could definitely do a Fabinho, Keita, Thiago midfield because I think Thiago defensively very solid, very smart. His numbers back it up.
Actually, to think about that, he started as an attacking player for Barcelona, but because of Kovac came in, Bayern Munich kind of moved into a deeper position, so he's gotten used to the more defensive side of the game.
Yeah, he plays a lot deeper. A bit like Alonso in a way, like how Alonso used to play quite deep from midfield, but also had an exceptional passing range. So I definitely think you could play Thiago and Keita together. Obviously, I know Henderson's the captain and he's had a great season but hey, if you have those three as an option to rotate and then have Fabinho as probably the guy who'd stay at defensive mid, but who knows, maybe you want to play Henderson as
you play Henderson in like the tougher games, like where you're going to be a bit more on the ropes, and then if you're really looking to open a team up, you might play Thiago and Keita together. It's good options to have. It's not about having one team and that's what you play every week.
Oh yeah,
it's about having different options for different weeks.
Well, there you go. We just mentioned about the squad depth. There's your squad depth. I mean, rotating Henderson, Keita, Fabinho, Thiago, and then having the likes of Ox and Jones also to come in. I mean, that midfield would be wow.
Excited about Thiago, Mangan?
He's an exciting player. He's I thought he was younger than he was actually.
I thought he was older than he was too.
He is an exciting player to bring in. He's the sort of player that squad, like I said about Shaqiri, that squad depth needs.
Mm.
He is the exact sign that we need. Someone who, even if he starts, we know we've got a solid option on the bench if he doesn't. Like, that's the thing. We need players who, when opposition fans see him coming off the bench, they think, oh, God, here we go now.
Mm.
Like, we need that fear factor coming off the bench, and I think if he doesn't start, he'd certainly do that.
Yeah. Only negative would be his injury proneness, but I'm such a big fan of him as a player, technically, that I'd happily take that risk.
I also think you've also got the other options available that it doesn't really make that much of a difference. I think if Keita can get himself fit, because he never used to struggle with injury before he came to Liverpool, and he does look in good shape now.
Well, that's why for me, I'd keep Wijnaldum, but also get Thiago, because it's good to have people who are maybe not as technically, well, he is technically good, but maybe not as exciting, but they're reliable. It's good to have some reliable players there. Yeah. So it's good depth anyway. Should we go on to the attack?
Yeah, sure.
I know I'm proud of us, lads.
We got through
the midfield without any black eyes.
I just wanted to say one more thing about Thiago is, if we did sign him, when was the last time we signed someone who was definitively world class at one of the biggest sides in Europe? When was the last time we did that? Because I really don't remember, and that's what would be such a statement about us signing Thiago.
No,
would you say Fabinho, was Monaco still up there?
Monaco's not one of the biggest.
A little bit, but like
talking about like one of the biggest teams in the world, and Monaco aren't.
I don't think Fabinho was like too well known. But obviously he's very good. But I don't think he was. Thiago. Everyone knows who Thiago is if you're a football fan.
That's a good point. It makes a statement, doesn't it? If you're able to buy one of the best players from one of the best clubs in the world, that does make a statement.
Yeah, and obviously we haven't done that in time. That's what makes it so exciting.
Okay, let's move on to the attack.
Yeah.
We've spent long enough on the midfield. Salah and Mane, let's not talk. Obviously, they stay in there till like they die. Okay, but Firmino.
Keep.
Let's have a chat about Firmino.
Now, I'd definitely keep Firmino. However, I do feel this season he has performed a lot worse than maybe 17-18, which is his best season for us. I feel like obviously everyone always uses the argument his job's not goals or this or that, but like, he's a forward at the end of the day. You can't just defend him all the time. Like, you can't just exempt him from criticism forever. Like, if he's underperformed, you need to say it at some point.
But I mean, he's underperformed in the aspect of you probably want to see more goals and assists from him. You probably want to see more improv. I agree. I think you want to see more from him in terms of that. But has he underperformed in terms of like his overall play? Really, like maybe he probably has underperformed a bit, but really, has he played bad in terms of his overall play? In terms of what his job is in the team?
I feel like his performance overall has went down a little bit since last season, and I think last season was a little bit worse than 17-18. And then if obviously his end product this season has been his worst at the club since he came in 20. When did he come? 2015, 2016. So,
like, this is another one of the Wijnaldum things for me, in that I can understand he hasn't maybe performed this season as well as he has other seasons, so he's getting a little bit of criticism. But I think people have gone overkill again.
All right, how many goal contributions do you think he's made?
Well, I know he's got 8 goals and 7 assists in the league.
Altogether, how many goal contributions has he made?
20. Something like 20 in all competitions.
23 goals and assists. That's still a decent return.
It's not bad at all, and I don't want to knock him that much. I would say his standards have slipped a bit. Like, I wouldn't deny that. I'd like to see a bit more end product from him. I think he's got like the third most big chances missed in the league or something.
Yeah, and
that's not a stat you want to see.
No, also his conversion rate is 8%, which is also yeah, he's got like I think he was like joint most big chances missed in the top 5 European leagues put together, and in the Premier League he has like the third most shots all season, and that's why I really didn't like people defending about, well, it's more than goals, blah blah blah, because he's taken more shots than anyone else in the league near enough, and he's still only scoring 8 goals. So what's that about?
I still think that's a somewhat fair argument, depending on how far you take it, because I see a lot of people comparing him with other strikers in the league, and he's not. His role is so different to other strikers in the league. His role is so unique. He was never brought in as a striker, so I don't know why we are comparing him to other strikers in terms of goal output.
And again, it's that argument about football Twitter taking things too far.
Again, like, I think he deserves to be questioned in terms of, we want more from him next season. I think it would be ridiculous to say replace him, sell him, or take him out take him out the first 11. It would be ridiculous to say that, because we would lose so many goals from Mane and Salah. Like, one of the ways we should judge Firmino is how many goals Salah and Mane score, because he enables them to score so many with his movement and his unselfishness. And he's incredibly unselfish, which we have to think about. So I think if you take Firmino out of that team and replace him with a striker, maybe you get more goals from that striker, but you'll get less goals from the wingers, so it'll level out anyway in that way. So
I don't think you'll get considerably less goals from Mane and Salah, to be honest.
I think
you would.
I think maybe there'd be an effect, but I don't think it'd be that major. I think you'd score more goals overall. Well, it depends. If Firmino performs like 17, 18, then I mean, that's amazing. Like that's what I want.
Word. Harry Kane's just scored a worldie.
God, stop watching the match, man. It's so professional.
But obviously, Firmino this season has been, considerably underperforming compared to the last, 2 seasons ago, and I think his game has went down back-to-back seasons now. So I'm really hoping that. The thing is, he started this season really well. He started it on fire. He scored, he was assisted, he was linking up play, flicks, all that kind of stuff. And then there was that. I know it didn't lead to anything, but there was that flick over the defender against Arsenal. Does anyone remember that?
Yeah.
Over the defender onto the volley and it got blocked. If that had went in.
No, that one, yeah. But there was the Rabona he did against someone as well, like 3-ball.
And
there was some like little back flick he did against Newcastle. So, but that's another thing. We've seen him when he hasn't played this season. How it affects us. We're always better when he's on the pitch. Like he is like. I could maybe not get the argument for the Wijnaldum thing in the system. Firmino, that is a very good argument. He is like so vital to that. I mean, we built a team around him. He's vital to that system. Like, I think you take him out and you put Werner in, and we're not the same, in my opinion. I don't think it's a sim. I think people are living in like a football manager world. They're like, Werner, Salah, Mane, that's amazing. And yeah, right, on paper it looks great, but I don't think that's as good as Firmino, Mane and Salah, because it's not as balanced. A lot of teams would just sit really deep against that and be able to defend it a lot easier than they would against Firmino, Mane, Salah, in my opinion.
No, you said, it's the football Twitter argument again. It's let's be honest, people take it way too far. People do take it way too far. Yes, they have a right to criticise him, and probably Firmino himself knows that he has had a subpar season compared to what it is. But it's
there's what I've seen is so much people calling like, why haven't we signed Werner? We should have signed Werner and replaced Firmino. Like, come on, like, are we like forgetting everything that Firmino's done for us and what he continues to do for us,
Mm.
and how crucial is that system. It's not. It's when we're not in this fancy world. It's not just as simple as Werner's a sixth striker. Firmino hasn't scored enough goals. Let's swap him. It's not that. It's so much more complex than that. And for me, next season, of course, keep playing with Firmino, Salah, Mane, but let's keep an eye on him and let's just hope he does better.
I really hope he does better. I really do, because here's the thing, right? I think if we brought in someone like a Thiago, or let's say we start Keita, we get to start Keita basically every game, I feel like that would help Firmino a lot through the centre, because obviously a lot of our attack comes from going down the wings with the fullbacks, and centrally we don't really have much at all creative wise. Obviously, if we have a Keita, Thiago, I think that would help Firmino out. I think if you look at it, when we had Coutinho there in midfield, and then Coutinho would come into the centre, and Firmino obviously performed amazingly then. And then even before that, in the early years, you had Lallana going through the centre, who was good creatively, and Coutinho still, while he was improving and young but getting better. So I do think that maybe he has suffered a little bit in the past 2 seasons from not having that kind of creative help from midfield. Not that is makes our midfield bad or anything, just because of how we've had to play and how we have had to create chances. But then also the Werner thing. Now, I would have loved it if we'd got Werner, because again, we would have had. Then we could play Werner up front. We could play Firmino as the centre forward in that false nine, as well as having Mane and Salah. You'd have great options there. Again, it'd be a bit like the whole Thiago thing. If we brought Thiago in, you got Keita, Henderson, and Fabinho. Rotate those 4 around. That's amazing. It'd be a similar story if we got Werner. Obviously, also a lot of people wanted Werner. I wanted Werner as well, but a lot of people, after Firmino's disappointing season, goal wise, and especially with the amount of chances he's missed too. Now it'd be a different story if, say, he hadn't really missed that many chances or he hadn't took that many shots, because then you're like, okay, well, it's just it's because he is sitting deep. He is just focused on linking up the play. But when you have those stats of that many shots, that many big chances missed, not scoring at home all season apart from the 1 goal against Atletico, it does bring about some concern about.
Yeah, well, Firmino will know that. He'll know he needs to improve that. Players have in terms of statistics, goal wise, they have some off seasons. That's fine. Yeah. I don't think it's warranted the criticism he's got for it. I still think he's performed pretty decent throughout the season and has helped Salah and Mane score plenty of goals.
Well, here's the thing. For Firmino, it's a bad season. For him, for his standards, it's a bad season. Now, for a normal Premier League player, you probably say it's a pretty decent season. However, you then look at his form since Christmas and his output, or very much lack of output since Christmas, is, really concerning. I mean, since that Leicester game, he scored 2 goals in the league, and they came in the 5 games after that. Since then, he's on, I can't remember how many games he's went without a goal now. It's a dozen games, I think, at this point, without a goal. He got those 3 assists against Southampton. Apart from that, output-wise, nothing. And that is obviously very worrying.
But the thing is, you say worrying. I don't think it is that worrying, because look at how easily we won the league this season without his goals. It's not that important for him to score that many goals, which has been proved. I think if we're looking to get more goals, it should be from midfield.
Yeah, well, more goals from midfield would be great. But also, we're saying how easily we've won the league this season. Firstly, Man City have dropped off considerably. So we didn't have to well, we have what? They got 100 points, then they got 98 points, and now they're on about 80. It's a significant drop. Now, obviously, last season, we would have won the league easily in virtually every other season, bar 2. So there's that argument. However, we're not on about other seasons. We're on about the competition we have now, and City have dropped off, but they will be back next season. You just know it. They're gonna, invest hugely because they're Man City and they can do that. And the players are probably going to be motivated again after a disappointing season, especially now they've been knocked out the FA Cup. If they don't win the Champions League, they're going to be very angry at themselves. Pep will probably stay anyway, but they're going to, they're going to go right for the league again. And I think they're going to have a very high point season, which means we need to make sure we can keep up our standards. And I think one way to make sure of that is Firmino performing, back in form.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I don't know why people have sort of the right criticisms but the wrong solutions. I don't know why some people can't just say, "Oh, Firmino's not his best goal scoring season, but he's still important to the team. Let's just hope he does better next season." I don't see why people can't just leave it at that. That is a completely fair argument to describe him this season. I don't know why everyone's like, "Oh, he's had the best goal scoring season. Get rid of him, bring Werner in instead. He scores way more." I don't know why people are so rash. People are just so needy to try and get transfers because it's like Christmas Day. They just want new presents, new toys all the time. They're like fans on Twitter, like spoiled kids who just want new shiny things. It's like it's so much more complex than that.
Well, I think obviously Firmino having his worst scoring or goal contribution season for us this year. Yeah, it's a bit worrying because you'd expect him at this age to be having maybe his best season. He's in those prime years now. He's like 20, 28. So the drop off is concerning for some, but obviously I do get your point about I don't think we definitely shouldn't sell Firmino under any circumstances. And I would hope that he's going to obviously be kept and he's going to start next season, and we just need to really hope that he improves, because if we're in this situation again next year, 2 seasons in a row of being a bit, then we're in it's a different conversation.
I mean, that's the story. It's like he hasn't had his best season this season, but he's still been pretty good.
Yeah.
But let's just hope next season he's able to score more, and that's it. End of story.
Here's another point with the Firmino thing. He also doesn't really have any competition for his place.
Well,
there's
I think
nothing
the Firmino signing has been brought in to provide someone who can also play that false nine role, because that's the thing. It's such a unique role. There's not that many players out there that we can sign to back him up. But Firmino has been signed, and he can definitely do that role. In fact, I think he'd be much better at that role than on the wing, where we have played him so far.
Yeah.
No, I think we should move on at this point. I think
we've spent ages on Firmino. But I think that's the most we're going to talk about certain player. We've still got a couple of players to sort out here. Being Shaqiri for a start.
Yeah.
What are we saying? Keep or sell?
I'd honestly want to keep him.
I would want to keep him too, but the thing is, I don't know if he's like slept with Klopp's wife or something or what, because he just disappeared, hasn't he? I mean, he came off the bench the last game, but apart from that, I haven't seen the guy.
Yeah, but his levels started to decrease a lot more. I mean, he started to play a lot when we changed the system to a 4-2-3-1, and he started to play a lot then and play quite well. But overall, I don't think that was the best thing for our team, because defensively, when we play a 4-2-3-1 as opposed to a 4-1-2-3, we look a lot more vulnerable. And I much prefer us when we're like a lot more solid like that, even if we have to sacrifice a little bit of attacking fluidity. So I prefer him out of the team as a squad option. But when he stopped playing for that period, and then he started playing a couple of games, he wasn't quite as good. If you think about the Barcelona game where we won 4-0.
He was awful.
He was awful in that game, but it was one game.
However, he still made the assist for Wijnaldum.
It's true. But what I would say, I wouldn't be devastated if he stayed. I would maybe be looking to sell him, and because I just think his time's run his course at Liverpool. I think we just need a bit of freshening up in that area, something a bit different to give Mane and Salah a bit more to think about.
Would you say maybe someone like Willian?
Well, no. because I think Williams came out and really expressed his want to stay at Chelsea and his loyalty in that. And I don't like signing players who have such loyalties to other clubs like that. I was thinking more the lines of, I hear Newcastle are quite interested in Shaqiri. What if we did some sort of little swap deal? Sam Maximan?
Maximan would not.
Yes, I would love that.
We'd have to pay over the odds for Sam Maximan, I think.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If we put Shaqiri in there, we can lower the fee a bit, maybe.
I don't think we would have to pay that much for Sam Maximan, because he's first season at Newcastle. Secondly, you've got the whole COVID thing going on. I think that's going to affect Newcastle, especially since they still have Mike Ashley as their owner. And also, he's not, like, when you look at him, he's not been like a world class or anything. I mean, yeah, he's probably been their best player, but at the end of the day, being Newcastle's best player isn't that good. And I don't think value-wise, if you look at like official sources, they always like to do market values and stuff. It's not that high. I think, honestly, 25 million is probably something you could get for it.
Well,
yeah, I think you could get him for that.
I'm not sure about that, because Newcastle demanded 30 million for Moussa Sissoko.
Yeah, but then circumstances since then, like COVID and everything, I think
it's true. But I think St. Maximin is just one of those players who's been. That's why I think if we soften the blow a bit with someone like Shaqiri, did a little bit of a swap deal, like some would say that maybe that's unnecessary, but I think it would freshen up that attack a bit more, give other teams something else to think about. If we're struggling to open a team up, like, St. Maximin is a much better player to bring on to perform some like magic, or really like confuse a tired defense with his skills. Okay, the end product thing is a thing. You know, he's one of those players like Adama Traore, who's a lot of pace and skill, really dangerous to play against, but not a lot of end product. That seems to be improving. Hold on one sec. That seems to be improving, and I think we can improve that even more. If you look at Serge Gnabry, he was once one of those players who was like sort of all pace and skill, but very little end product. Now he's one of the best wingers in world football.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I'm not saying that's going to happen with St. Maximin, but that's why I think he would be a good signing to freshen up that attack a bit more.
Yeah, I agree. And I was also just going to say about the output thing, the end product. I think it has actually improved as the seasons went on, because I don't think he had a goal or assist in like the first like half a season basically, but in the second half he's got, I think he's got something like 7 goal contributions, which isn't great, but again, he plays in Newcastle. It's quite hard to get that many chances. And yeah, as you said about Gnabry, he could definitely improve a lot. He's still young, and Klopp always improves players a lot. I think he could improve St. Maximin end product a lot too. And I think if he did sign for us, he'd be a great addition to that squad depth in the forward line.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that we wouldn't really be bothered either way if we sold or kept Shaqiri.
Where's the thing? I kind of want to keep Shaqiri and then bring St. Maximin too, because I don't really think we don't really have that many wingers, do we? So I think we need to add a winger.
Yeah.
We need one more winger than we have right now, because right now we have Salah, Mane, and Shaqiri, and those are the guys who are like, natural wingers. Then Minamino's tried to play out there, but let's be honest, I don't think he's a winger, is he?
No, I don't think he's quick enough to
I think
do that role for us.
Exactly. But St. Maximin can play both sides. I also think he could probably play in the middle too, not as like a striker or anything, but like as number 10. But we're not going to play in number 10. But I do think maybe he has the ability to go into that role. But that's not even what the point here. I think he would be good if we kept Shaqiri as well. And if we didn't keep Shaqiri, then I think maybe we need to look at maybe getting someone else as well. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
Yeah, but I think honestly, I'm with you. Like, I wouldn't mind if we kept Shaqiri, bought St. Maximin, bought another winger, or we sold Shaqiri, bought St. Maximin. Like, I don't really care either way. All I know is I think we need another winger. That's all I really want. I don't really care that much who goes. I just think we need an extra winger to freshen up that attack a bit more.
I mean, right. So worst case scenario, we keep Shaqiri and don't sign St. Maximin. Second worst case scenario is we sell Shaqiri and get Saint-Maximin, and then the best case scenario is we keep Shaqiri and sign Saint-Maximin, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I'm not too bothered either way, as long as we get someone new in to fix things up. Lastly, I don't think I've missed anyone. Origi? Is there anyone else that I've missed?
Gone. Origi's gone for me. I think he should go.
Well, you're going to have to explain.
We can't afford to keep someone due to sentimentality. Yeah, he did some great things, but take away his goals and what you've got. You haven't, with Bobby, his goals have dried up, but he's still creating chances for the strikers. Salah and Mane, you take away their goals, they're still two very attacking wingers who will get assists. I don't see anything from that for Origi. Origi, we will remember him because of what he did at Barca. And to be fair to him, he's taking his chance as well for it, but what else does he provide?
I think more so what might be better is to get rid of Origi and bring a Saint-Maximin in. Maybe overall that would be a better solution. I think he doesn't really fit Klopp's system because he plays him a lot on the wing, because he fits the system more as a winger than a striker, and he's terrible on the wing.
He's really not good.
Really all what he brings to us is an impact sub. That's all he brings to us, which is, to be honest, that's quite a lot in this day and age. Like, if you look at important goals he's scored, an impact sub is quite important. But I would be happy to sell him because obviously technically he's not really good enough to be at us. But he's a bit like an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like, he's not really good enough to start, but he's impactful and he scores important goals.
Yeah.
So whether we keep or sell him, maybe I'd be leaning towards sell, but I wouldn't be devastated if we kept him because sentimentally and his impact off the bench carries some weight.
Yeah. Thing is, he started against Everton early in the season. He played fantastically, got 2 goals down the centre when he finally got the chance to just play, centrally as a striker. And I was really hopeful for Origi at that point. I was like, that's a great performance. Hopefully, and he scored against Norwich and that. When he also started that game as well. So, yeah, I did have at the start of the season a lot more hope for Origi, but it has kind of dried up a bit. And I think, moving him on for a decent fee, I think we can get for him. For maybe like a Bundesliga team.
Yeah, I think my heart says keep him. My head says sell him and bring in like I say, Maximin. That's ultimately.
And then we have the likes of, we have Brewster who will be coming back, who could provide some cover for the striker position. And he's
well at Swansea,
he's done, and you've got to take into consideration Swansea's scoring record before he came in. Awful, like just over a goal per match, and they're nearly in the promotion places. So Brewster's working with little, next to no service. It's his first ever professional season of football because of the injuries he's had. He's 20. He's missed out on a year or two of really developing as a footballer because of that. But that doesn't mean that year or two disappears. That starts now for him, and I don't think he really loses out that much, especially with the way he's performed. It looks like he's got over that injury pretty well. He's recovered, and he could really kick on and be a quality player.
Yeah.
He's done very well. People, obviously, all the focus right now is on Greenwood.
Yeah,
after the impact he's made, but I'm glad that Brewster's gone under the radar a bit because all that pressure is going to be on Greenwood now for next season.
True, there's not really going to be. Yeah.
We're still waiting on Brewster, and he's done amazing. Let's be honest, he has done amazing. Is it 9 league goals?
8 or 9.
They're 1 win away from. Well, next week is their judgment day for the championship, and if they win and Cardiff lose, then I think Swansea go into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him in pre-season, didn't we? A couple times.
Yeah, we always do.
And he's such a goal poacher. He's always in the right position. He gets those tap-ins, and he's such a goal poacher. And it's always important to have those types of players. They might not set the world alight, but the goals are what you play for, and it doesn't matter how you get them. And those players are important.
I think that he can definitely add more to his game under Klopp too. When you think about it, again, really missed out the last couple of years of trying to develop and grow as a player because of that major injury he had. I think it was his knee, the cruciate ligaments. But, you know, and also, if you look at some of the goals we score from like those crosses, those kind of scrappy goals and stuff where, you know, maybe it bounced around in the box a bit and our players just want it more. And his positioning and his just knack for being in the right place could come very handy in those kind of situations that we find ourselves in. And he could get a lot of those type of goals for us, maybe off like the bench or something. Who knows?
Right, well, that's the ins and outs. How we do? Anyone want to tell me how we're doing for time?
I think we're an hour and a half in, so we're all right.
We're doing well, but I don't want us to go on forever. But we still have things to talk about. We might end up doing a part 2. If people like this, might do a part 2 because there's definitely more stuff to talk about. But for now, we'll
if we get over 1 view, then we'll do a part 2.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be tough to be honest. So now that we've done that, I'm looking at. You've done like your own little tier list here, Written.
Oh God!
This is the next screen. You've done your own little tier list here.
You little traitor.
Well, you know, we'll keep on topic. This is the tier list. Why not? We'll keep on topic. And you've done a tier list on. You've ranked Liverpool players based on this season.
Uh-huh.
Now, I agree with a lot of it, but there's some I don't agree with.
Okay.
And I think that's what we'll talk about. So ultimately,
oh no, I've just seen the bottom tier.
well, yeah, I definitely disagree with that.
That's just as a joke. To be fair, it's not like, come on.
Yeah.
Don't take that seriously.
Okay, so world class. Van Dijk, Alisson, Salah, Mane, Fabinho, and Trent. I don't think we'd have any qualms with that.
No Robertson.
No,
well,
here's the thing. I think. Right, I'll explain it. I think this season Robertson has been very good. Don't get me wrong. Probably still the best left back in the league. But again, I'm looking at left backs in the league. It's not great. Anyway, but I think he has dropped off a bit from like the last 2 seasons. Wow. That's not really too much of a criticism. It's just my personal opinion. I just don't think he's been as good. That's why I couldn't, and I just couldn't quite put him in the top tier for me personally. So that's why I put him there.
He may have dropped off slightly, but he's dropped off from a incredible level to a very good level at that. That's the worst I could say about him.
No, yeah, exactly.
I still would say he's world class because if you're saying he's the best left back in the best league in the world.
But then
that's world class, and he's definitely one of the best left backs in the world.
I know, but then I'm like comparing him to the other players that I've put in world class, and I just don't feel like.
But Trent, he's got to be on level with Trent. He doesn't get as many goals, but I think he's probably a better all-round fullback.
I did debate it. I did think maybe, but I just decided in the end to.
I think Robbo's a better all-round fullback than Trent, but Trent gets more goals and he's younger, so he gets more plaudits. I think Robbo's for sure world class. He's one of the best left backs in the world, so I would have put him there.
I still think he's one of the best left backs in the world. I just think this season has been a bit,
That's disagreement. Another disagreement I have.
But it's not. I'm not really criticising him, to be fair.
Another disagreement I have. I would have put. I don't know whether you'd agree with me. I would have put world class potential as a lower tier than very good. Because what you've ended up doing here is putting Cater above Henderson when Henderson had an absolutely outstanding season.
Yeah, here's the thing. Because I thought it was a difficult one to try and make up because I think the people that have put in world class potential do have that. But I didn't want to put. It was a tough one for me. I didn't. You know what? You're probably right. I probably should have swapped those 2 tiers around. But I think it was because of Gomez. I didn't want to put him in very good because I think he's got world class potential. But so it was a bit of a difficult one for me to try and organise. No, I'm not saying Cater's had a better season than Henderson. By the way, this is just how my little tier that I made.
Yeah, I can totally get behind Keita and Gomez being classed as world-class potential, but I could not get behind Keita being a higher tier than Henderson based off the season.
Here's the thing. That's not me saying that he's had a better season or anything. I just think he fits that tier better. So that it wasn't me saying that Keita's had a better season than Henderson, because I mean he's not clearly not played enough to make any kind of that judgment.
Yeah.
So that wasn't me saying that. Just to clear that up.
Firmino, average, Ox, average, Milner, average. I can get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Matt have been the very good tier. I can get behind that, but he has been quite injury prone.
Yeah, I mean,
season.
He played those first
like usual, man does a job.
Wijnaldum, I would move him up to average. I think Paul's harsh. Like he started like almost every game this season, the season where we won the league, and he's maybe not had one of his better seasons, but he still plays an important role. So I'd personally move Wijnaldum up a tier. Origi and Lovren in poor, I can probably get behind that. Lallana, hard to judge, barely played, but
true. But I just
and I think the Adrian one, that's harsh as well. He's made some very good saves. He's made big mistakes, but I think he's been a bit unfortunate with that. But okay,
I think the thing is about Adrian, I think no one expects them to. We expect them to play FA Cup games, maybe probably League Cup as well. Mm-hmm. This man came in the very first game of the season. He'd signed like 2 days before, and he had to play for like 8 or 9 games.
Think about how well he performed in the Super Cup as well, and
it was never a pen though.
That was never a pen. I'm not blaming him for that. That was never a pen. And he won the penalty as well. He's made his mistakes, but he is a backup keeper at the end of the day for a reason. I think he's done a solid job, like for what we expected, what we expect of a backup keeper. I think he's done a solid job. But whatever, it's not that interesting to talk about Adrian at the end of the day. So I've seen a lot of criticism for FSG on your Twitter lately, and I don't like that. Because for me, I think people criticize the money spent, and I don't understand that, because they've invested for sure. If you look at the players they bought since they came in, Mane, Salah, Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Robbo, Van Dijk,
the entire team, they've signed.
Alisson, they've spent money. They didn't spend last summer, but they've proven that was the right decision, because we've won the league without having to spend any money. I mean, surely the purpose of hold on one second. Surely the purpose of an owner, the sign of a good owner, is to build a successful club, having as small a net spend as possible, and surely they've ticked those boxes.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, yeah, we've won the league this season without making a signing. Well, basically, apart from Sepp van der Berg, the big marquee signing of last summer. However, we've only won the league. We've not I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
Whoa,
hang on. No, just stop. No. Stop and let me finish. No, stop. Right. No. I'm still talking. No. All right. We won the league, and that's amazing. I love it. Great. Fantastic. However, we went out in the FA Cup. The League Cup. Okay, we couldn't do anything about the League Cup, to be fair. We went out in the FA Cup, played poor with a rotated side. We went out in the Champions League round of 16. And I feel like if we're the best team in the world, and we're all this, and we've done so well, and we've got this amazing team and all the rest of it, then we should be doing a bit better in those cups. Now, I'm not saying that we haven't had a bad season by all accounts. I mean, the amount of points we've got in the league, the records we've set, fantastic. But maybe if we had invested a bit, let's say we had, that bit more quality and depth that we've been talking about when we're talking about signing the like of a, Thiago or a Saint Maximin, maybe with that kind of stuff, we do, or a better number 2 keeper to cover for Alisson in that Champions League game. Maybe we do better in the FA Cup and the Champions League. Maybe we're on for a double or a treble season.
Right. Okay.
I'm not saying that it was a horrible decision. We didn't invest, and we've clearly suffered from it because we won the league, and that's amazing. I'm very happy about that, and I can't wait to see us lift the trophy in a few days' time against Chelsea. That's going to be an iconic moment in all of our lives.
What I'll say about this, okay, if I can just think for a second before I lose my train of thought, is that we haven't won the league in 30 years, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We look like we're gone. At a point in the season, it was like, oh my God, we've got a serious chance of winning the league here. At that point, in the FA Cup, we don't risk things because, we haven't won the league in 30 years. Are we really going to say, right, we want to win? We don't just want to win the league this year. We want to win everything. Like, it was so important for us to win this first league to get that duck off our back that I think it's fair to have neglected the FA Cup and the League Cup just to make sure we got that league title secured. I think that's fair. And we went out of the Champions League because of Adrian's mistake. Really, we played fantastic in that Atletico Madrid game.
Yeah. I also think we missed quite a few chances too, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think for me, he did score, but I think he did miss a couple good chances from what I can remember. But he did score, and that was great when he did score at Anfield for the first time this season. I think we were all a bit, quite happy about that one. Not just for the fact it was a goal to take us in the lead against Atletico. Now, right, we had to neglect the League Cup because of the complications with the Club World Cup. But the FA Cup, I'm not saying, right, here's the thing, I don't mind us playing a rotated side in the FA Cup, but I'm just saying, if we had that extra option or two in different positions, maybe, we do better.
Yeah, but I think that's greedy. I think that would be poor ownership to do that all at once and just invest all that at once. I think the step was right because we've got what we wanted, the league title. Now the right step is to be able to challenge for all these different trophies at once. I don't think it's fair to criticise them for not spending because of...
That's the thing.
Here's the thing. As you said before, doing it for one summer and not spending is okay. Like, we've shown that. But two is we shouldn't be doing that. We should be investing this summer. And I agree with that. But, obviously I would have liked it if we'd invested. I get that the league's the priority, and I'm very happy with that. I'm just saying, if you take the emotional aspect out of it, you want to win everything, right?
Yeah,
I get it's been 30 years.
The league is so much more important to us than the FA Cup. The FA Cup has such little importance these days.
I know.
You also have to think, Chelsea away is not the easiest draw that we got in the 5th round or whatever for a start. We got a little bit of luck. We got a lot of the cup is luck. Think about how easy Man City get their draws.
we had the derby. It's literally our first ever.
City get like Northampton Town in the final.
I swear they played Oxford United 5 times in a row at this point.
Yeah,
it seems that way.
You know what I mean? Who did he get? Who did he get? A championship team in the League Cup semi-final, and they beat them 9-0 or whatever.
It was even worse. It was Burton.
Yeah, it was
they were they? I thought they were Championship at the time.
I think they were League One.
Oh, whatever. They were terrible.
Yeah, basically.
But I think it would have been too greedy to, when we haven't won the league in 30 years, to say we don't just won the league, we won the FA Cup as well this season. I think now that we've won the league, now the thing to do is invest. We're now and start to become this team who can challenge for multiple trophies at once.
Yeah,
which is why I think that's unfair to criticise FSG.
Right.
At this point, if they don't invest this summer, I think then it becomes fair.
Right. Okay, but here's the thing. Right, we've won the league this season. Great, we've had a fantastic season. However, City did drop off compared to the last 2 seasons where they've been 100 points, 98 points, and I don't think anybody predicted that. I think we all thought it was going to be another close one with City probably as the favourites. Although I did think we'd win the league, but I was a bit biased. Obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan. I'm going to say that. But I think maybe that's why at the time I think you could criticise them. I know we've won the league in the end, and that's great. We've won it easily, but at the time we didn't know that. We didn't.
Yeah, but that's what you can't criticise without knowing.
20 points. No, but the thing is, the situation was Man City get basically 100 points a season. We've just got 97 and still not won the bloody thing. So they also said we need to go again. I think a lot of fans thought we probably do need to go again and improve in certain areas because, I mean, we're against Man City. They're going to buy more than they already have, and we need to improve. Now, in the end, turns out they dropped off. We stayed basically at the same level. We're going to get very similar points total, maybe improved by 1 or 2. I'm not sure.
But improvement isn't just about the players you've got. It's also about the tactics and the players, like how they gel together. Like the more playing time and consistency they get with each other, the better they're going to become naturally anyway without transfers. And the tactics are going to evolve from Klopp because he has to adapt because we couldn't really afford anyone that summer because we'd spent a lot on Van Dijk and Alisson and that.
Well, we did spend a lot, but we also got a lot of money from the Coutinho sale. We got like 140 million.
But ultimately, FSG know our finances a lot better, and they said we can't afford anyone this summer, and we just have to, as fans, accept that and say
it's a bit strange considering we've made record profits in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but we don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes and running the club. And if they say, "Oh, we have to accept as fans that that's the case," for one season, and we should accept that because it worked out. If it hadn't worked out, then we could have said, "Okay, wrong decision," but it ultimately was the right decision, so we shouldn't be criticising them now.
Here's what I think. I think FSG need to, pray every night that Klopp stays because he has really been able to paint them in a great light because of the miraculous work that he has done as a coach and as a manager with getting these players with not much of a budget and being able to improve them so much within our, within a system and, getting them at usually a younger age, developing them more than they would have really anywhere else. And that's down to him as the best manager in the world right now. I think there's not really any doubt about that. I think if you look at the years before Klopp, we had that one great season under Brendan Rodgers because we had, Suarez, Sturridge, Coutinho, Sterling, Gerrard, all that. But then obviously it all fell apart. Apart from that, we hadn't had any good seasons. But then we got Klopp, and he was able to do his miraculous work that he did at Dortmund, again, without much of a budget at all. And he's managed to do it again. But I think that then paints FSG in a better light, and it does protect them because of the success that he's been able to bring us.
But does it matter? Ultimately, they've
the thing is,
got a success without having a net spend that's incredibly high and not smart and not profitable.
Yeah. I mean,
like we're making profits while getting success. Surely that's great ownership.
You've got to look at some of the signs we've made that went over the budget, like Andy Robertson, 8 million. Matty free transfer.
Mate, every signing's been under what we should pay.
All signings are made by FSG, really. Who else have you got? Minamino could be a great bargain at 7 million.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I just do a timeline of events from when FSG came in to now? So we were like almost going into administration or whatever with Hicks and Gillette. They came in and saved the club for a start. Because we used to make terrible transfer decisions like 35 million for Andy Carroll. He ultimately got rid of the transfer committee we had that was making terrible transfer decisions, and since then we've made much better transfer decisions.
Yeah, Michael Edwards. What a guy.
Yeah, and then they've brought him in, and when Brendan Rodgers needed to be sacked, they sacked him at the perfect time, and it was their decision to bring Klopp in for a start at the right time.
I mean, the genius is to select Klopp, though. I mean, okay, the timing was good.
They still brought him in though. Like, they're American owners. Like, you can't expect their knowledge of football to be that brilliant.
They're owning a football club. They need to have knowledge.
I know, but they've their natural knowledge of football can't be that great. So for them to have worked on that and know that Klopp was the right option.
They'll have other people though who.
Yeah, of course, but ultimately, these are all the right decisions. And since Klopp's came in, he's given money. We've 30 odd million on Salah, 30 odd million on Mane, 20 million on Wijnaldum, 40 million on Fabinho, 50, 60 million on Keita, 70 million on Van Dijk, 70 million on Alisson. That, a small budget, I would disagree on that. But we've had a reasonable net spend along that time, and our success and our trajectory has just been up and up and up. So for me, it's really, I don't get the criticism. Like I don't get how they're bad owners.
I am worried that when Klopp leaves, we will struggle a lot, because if they continue to invest the same amount that they have so far, because over the last 5 seasons, we rank 14th for net spend. And if you look at all of our rivals, to be fair, Chelsea are 13th, but they'd already spent over $1 billion in the last decade or so anyway. But then you look at the top: City, expected; United, Arsenal, Everton make up the top 4.
Yeah, but look at where those teams are. Look at where we are.
Right, yeah, I get it. But imagine a team under Klopp where he gets to invest significantly as well. I mean,
it's not about that. It's not just like the money you spend equates to how good the player is as well. It's about, you could buy a £1 million player who ends up being world class.
No, I get that.
Again, we're looking at it like it's Football Manager. Just because you spend more doesn't mean they're going to be good players.
Just because that it's a good thing to have a low net spend. I don't see why in your eyes it's a negative to have a low. If we have a low net spend and we're performing badly, then it's a bad thing. But if we've got a low net spend and a high performance, that's perfect ownership. I don't see how it can be viewed any other way than perfect ownership. And you can't say, oh, but if Klopp wasn't there, it might not be. Well, it doesn't matter if it might not be. It is what it is.
That's the thing. It's clear that we need to invest this summer, but it doesn't mean we have to break the bank. Look at us with Thiago right now with 30 million. That's a good signing for the fit. If he was like 50, 60 million, you'd say no. But 30 million is the right amount for a player of that stature. We will probably sign. I think I've heard a few rumours going around that we're going to sign about 3 or 4 players.
I've heard that.
That's what I think we need.
True. I hope it's true. And obviously, Klopp was a big fan of Werner, but obviously too much, and Chelsea had to spend a lot in terms of the entire package of the deal, wages, bonuses, agent fees, as well as the transfer fee itself. So I get that, and I get that they have Roman Abramovich, who is just happy to throw money around. Obviously, it was really disappointing because Werner was wanting us and Klopp wanted Werner, but we just couldn't do it.
That's life sometimes.
Well, yeah, I know because it happened. But hopefully we can get Thiago and we can get a bit more backup defensively, as well as a forward backup for our squad depth. But I do hope that when Klopp leaves, we do see more investment, because I do think we're going to need it, especially when you look at the likes of Mane, Salah, Firmino will be in 28. Van Dijk's 28 as well, 29. You look at those players getting on, they are going to need to be replaced in the next couple of years, few years. And obviously with the quality that they have, we are going to need to replace them with people who have similar quality. Otherwise, we are just going to drop off into just a top 4 team, top 6 team. And obviously none of us want that. We want to stay as title challengers every season for as long as possible.
The thing is,
we can't call them bad because of what they might not do.
No, I'm just saying other clubs seem to be able to make it possible to sign players when they want them.
But other clubs aren't winning the league like us.
And the thing is, well, I know this year we've done that, and hopefully next year we'll also win it. Obviously, we haven't got a clue. And if we invest, in the likes of Thiago and a Mings and a Saint Maximin, I'd be very happy with that as a summer window.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
At the end of the day, we say, we say,
fine.
It's not like they can't afford them, but sometimes affording people doesn't mean it's the best. Like, people the past few years have signed like £50 million players with the Premier League, and they've done nothing.
Yeah,
like,
but
one off the top of my head I can think of is Benjamin Mendy for City. How much did he sign for? Was it 50 million, something like that?
João Cancelo as well. Man City have the funds to spend like 50 million on a backup fullback.
I think it's just it's tradition at this point.
And we're beating them in the league.
Morata for Chelsea. Like, just because you can afford it doesn't mean it's the best thing.
Right, but here's the thing: our recruitment is better than City's. Klopp and Edwards. So so you have to expect that if they had the money, they would do a better job than City have done, because the players that they have bought for a decent price tag, like the ones that you've mentioned, Mane, Salah, Firmino, Van Dijk, Alisson, that they would be able to continue and cater potentially, depending on how his next year or so goes. You would have to say that surely if they had more chances to make those type of signings, that they would typically do a very good job of signing more of those players that work out at that price. I get what you mean. There's chances they could fail, but with what we've done so far,
yeah, why sign anyone in that case? But I still I can't see any reason to criticize them other than people wanted signings last summer and we didn't get them, and that's proven to have been the right thing in the end. So, I mean, ultimately, if we don't sign anyone this summer and then we drop off completely, then we can say this is poor ownership.
That's what I'm worried of.
But you can't be worried. Firstly, it's out of your control. So
I know
it's not worth thinking about. And
it's out of the Liverpool Football Club.
Let's not criticize someone for something they haven't even done yet. We haven't even finished the season. Like, give them a chance. Like, they might go out and sign everyone you want this summer. Like, let's hold on before we jump to and say bad owners. Like, they've been very well. I mean, I don't bring up evidence right here.
I don't think they've been bad, but I think they could have done more.
Can I quote you?
Oh, here we go. What have I said now?
In light of the decision of Man City earlier today, I would like to state an opinion. FSG are not good owners for us at all. They are fantastic owners for themselves and their own bank accounts, but that's it.
Because they've managed to take a team that was in a massive name team that was in debt, bought it for 300 million, which, I mean, which is a bargain for the status of the club. Cleared its debts like, smart businessmen could do. Regrown the brand, invested enough money, found, struck upon the perfect manager to then actually make us successful. And then they've not had to invest too much since. And were incredibly successful because they brought in Klopp and, they did do the stuff with the whole transfer committee, fair enough. And we're now successful due to the management we have, because the few managers before that really weren't successful at all, apart from one season where we nearly won the league, because Luis Suarez was basically the best player on the planet that year and Sturridge was world class. And they've done very well for themselves because that success, we make record profits for a football club. Now that's I think.
Have you said any bad things there?
You've just praised them for about 10 minutes there. No.
But I'm saying that they've done very well for themselves,
and also us.
Well,
what do you mean? Well, we're like one of them. They've took us from like Roy Hodgson to one of the best teams in the world. Like, I don't see how they haven't done well for us. The simple fact is, 14th highest net spend in the league, and we are one of the best teams in the world. That's facts. That's perfect ownership. I don't see how you can say anything negative about that.
Again, I don't think the bad owners per se, because they've cleared our debts, and they've invested a bit, and they've found the right manager to make sure that they don't have to invest much. because they've seen, what he's done at Dortmund, for example, with next to no budget, and how he can develop players, etc. But let's not forget the transfer policies of buying younger players to then being able to sell them when they grow into, bigger names and develop players so they can make more profits. Now, it's not that they're bad. It's just when you look at other owners being able to, just invest in star quality. Now, I get from a business perspective, the smarter thing and the thing that you want as an owner, if you're interested in yourself as a businessman, is you don't want to invest much, but you want to make as much profit as possible, and they have done that for themselves. That's what I'm saying. But imagine if Klopp had was able to get another couple £50 million players as well as the ones he's already got in the past because of the sales we've made of Coutinho, Suarez, Sterling, etc. I mean, you look at a real dynasty there that could challenge for, all the trophies in one season.
You're saying imagine if. We're one of the best teams in the world anyway.
Yes,
can't get much better than what we are.
But again, the depth needs improving.
Yeah, it needs improving now, but
not on 50 million players like City.
It needs improving now, but we can't be criticising them for something that hasn't happened yet. We need to see what they do this summer and see what they invest before we criticise.
I sincerely hope that they do invest in the players that we've mentioned. But
you're also comparing them to other owners that are less successful as well, saying they're better owners because they've spent more and achieved less, which is not how it works.
Well,
just because you've spent more doesn't mean you're a good owner because you've invested more money.
Listen, if any of those owners have got Klopp in, but the thing is, Klopp was definitely he's perfect fit for Liverpool in terms of the type of club we historically are, and the type of manager he is. The personality, it just fit. But if Klopp had went to Arsenal, I think they'd probably be they'd be winning the league. Probably because they've been able to pay a lot for transfers and invest and everything, and obviously they haven't got Klopp. They got Emery in, and look where they are now. I mean, they're improving under Arteta, to be fair, who's done a solid job. But I think Klopp is obviously the main guy behind our success. And
I mean, the manager's always the main guy, but it's irrelevant, really, because I keep going back to this point. The simple facts are good ownership is being as successful as you can with the lowest net spend possible to make as much profit, and that is exactly what they've done. I don't see any negatives.
We're fans. I don't care about them as business people. I care about what they do. I care about what they put into.
That's irrelevant.
Oh, I do, because the last business people we had nearly put us into administration.
Yeah, exactly. I want them to be clever. I want them to be clever with their business because I don't want them to just throw money at everything. I'm fine with us not signing people like last season. It's okay. I know it's exciting for fans to see signings, but if it doesn't make sense, then we shouldn't expect it to happen.
Honestly, I want 30 million to be our maximum, we spend on one player this season, and that should be Thiago. The rest, I want players who we know aren't going to be immediately in the first 11, but are that squad depth to make you think when they're coming off the bench, here we go, we've got something now.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think we should be buying Thiago as our main signing this summer. But ultimately, to complete this argument that we've talked about the owners for ages, I see a lot of criticism for them, and I don't understand it. Do these people want us to go back to Hicks and Gillette days where we're buying Andy Carroll for 35 million and going into administration, or do they want us to be spending?
We bought Carroll under FSG.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, they've been in charge of us for a while. Okay, but whatever. The point is, in those times, we used to spend a lot of money on useless players. It's much better for us to find players like Salah and Mane where we buy them for less than we should, and they have become.
But here's the thing. We did that because we had to, because at the time, when we bought Mane, we were a top 6 team. We were a team that wanted to go into the top 4. and then we got Mane that year for the 16-17 season. We broke through. We got fourth, and we've been able to develop. But that's 3 to 4 years ago. We're now at the top. We're at the pinnacle now. We are the team that, like Thiago wants to come to, Werner wants to come to, all these world-class players would want to come to. I'm sure if we offered for Sancho would love to come for us. Well, obviously he would cost ridiculous amount of money, like 100 million plus. But I'm not saying get Sancho. But you know what I mean? Like, we're at the pinnacle now where we don't have to go to a Southampton to get a player. And which we did a lot of, and a few of them have worked out very well.
Although I wouldn't mind getting Danny Ings back as a backup.
I know. Imagine, yeah. I mean, we sold Ings.
He's too good to be backup now. He's too good to be backup.
He is too good to be a backup. He's, he could be a Golden Boot winner. You never know. A couple goals in the last game of the season. He might nick it from Vardy. Yeah, I've lost my trail of thought there.
I think ultimately, what I wanted to get across is to people complaining about the owners, please stop. It's out of order. They've done nothing but a good job. Just because they haven't signed all the players you wanted to sign doesn't mean they're bad owners. Ultimately, we're one of the best teams in the world with reasonable spending at the same time. And that is good ownership. That's a well-run football club. Simple as. If they don't sign anyone this summer or sign minimal people and then we massively decrease our levels next season, that's the point where we can start criticising them. But not now. We can only praise them now.
Sorry, I just remembered. I was talking about how we've grew from a team that, went for those Salah, Mane type players from the, not the top teams. And players who were, people thought were maybe good, but didn't quite have that world-class potential. But then we made them into that because of just how, good Klopp is. But we've grew from that. We're not a top 6 team. We're the top team or a top 2 team minimum. And, our income has increased significantly because of the Champions League money and going far in that competition in the final 2 years in a row, winning it once. Obviously being in it the last few years in a row, now winning the league, or, merchandise sales have increased because of all the success. So we should be able to now do more in the transfer market than we used to. That's what confuses me a bit, is we should be able to do more now. I'm not saying we spend like Man City, who spend,
But we might do. You don't know what's going to happen this summer.
Well, we're not going to spend like Man City, let's be honest.
Yeah, but for the start we can't because of COVID and everything. We can't judge them on normal circumstances because of that. We have to be more lenient. And we shouldn't be spending Man City because we can't anyway, because we haven't got their type of own. Like, our owners aren't as rich as them. Like, we shouldn't be expecting that. But
no, I'm not.
Let's give FSG.
Let's give it the credit it deserves.
Respect and credit, but and just see how the summer plays out in terms of transfers. We all know what we want to see, and let's hope we see it.
Yeah, let's really hope. I really hope. I hope more than anything. I would like nothing more for them to just prove all my points wrong. Sign Thiago, Saint-Maximin, Mings, and who was that guy from PSG?
Kazawa.
That was it, yeah. Sign all them, maybe a number 2 keeper as well. And I'd be like, you know what, fair enough. What a great summer that was. Now we have a fully completed team, strong depth basically everywhere. The starting lineup's as complete as it's been ever. And I'd be very happy, and I would be more than willing and happy to praise them for that.
All right.
As well as Edwards and Klopp for their recruitment skills too.
Okay.
Well, I think we've talked about enough there. I think we've got a good meaty episode there.
Yeah, we'll come back when FSG ultimately fail, and I'll be proven
right.
But
is there going to be a part 2? Have you got more for us?
I don't know. Maybe. You know what? Well, I mean, I think there definitely will be a part 2 because but it might not be for a bit longer because
it might be a few months, maybe after.
We need more topics to come up. I think we've covered everything I kind of wanted to cover.
Yeah.
Sure. But Let us know if you like that or not.
I think we want off the cuff to be sort of like a monthly thing.
Well,
Like,
it's just going to
we're
be.
not.
There's no schedule to it. It's just going to happen when we feel like it. When we think of a
when
good idea, we'll just do
certain
it.
topics come up,
Yeah.
and we think we could, make a good podcast and that we want to talk about it in a non-tier list way.
Yeah,
And I think that maybe we could do a part 2 of this maybe after the transfer window is over, and I think it's going to be
Transfer window
October when
review,
it's finished.
And
And we can look back. We could talk
Yeah.
about the outs, the ins. Did we
think
make the right decisions?
that's going to be an interesting one. That's going to
Yeah.
be a big one.
So yeah, let us know. Comment or like or dislike the video.
Yeah.
Give us an idea.
What are
you
you
thought.
doing?
I'm
What
just-
are you doing?
Oh, sorry,
You're
can I
taking
not
my
say?
gig.
Hey, Paddy said stuff like that as well. Come on, I'll not say anything now. Oh, jeez.
And everyone on football Twitter, you have your right to your opinion, but
Even
try and be respectful.
Oh my god.
That's my message.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should we attempt to go for a Dharma Traore? Just one more thing.
Oh, this has been long enough. I'd take a Dharma
no,
Traore.
No,
What?
it's only a quick one because Wolves had valued him as 135 million.
I
Well,
just saw that.
exactly. I think ultimately he'd cost too much. I mean, ultimately I'd take him. I think he's a bit overrated because his end product shows up here and there. I would take him because he's extremely difficult to play against, and I like those types of players. But he's not going to be worth the money that they're going to be asking for.
Yeah, the thing is, they did say, I did see that rumor before, but we can't be sure if that's true or not. It's just a newspaper talk.
Yeah.
It's not like a very reliable output. It wouldn't surprise me if they said they valued it in that, because obviously it's very important to them. But if he was available for something more like 40 million, even that might be a little much. But I think if that price was available, I'd be more than happy to take him.
Yeah, I couldn't see that happening, but
I couldn't. No, neither.
well, we'll see.
Yeah,
Ultimately,
right.
We'll see what happens.
When this is coming out on Wednesday, is it? So
hopefully,
if you're listening to this on Wednesday, then you'll be looking forward to the big trophy celebration. We'll all be enjoying that. Have we got
City?
Have we got anything else to say on the subject of Liverpool? Or have we done?
No, we've covered the entire club history and lifetime.
Yeah.
Join us next time. We will be talking about Bill Shankly's era.
No, we won't.
When we should have sold Kevin Keegan. But remember, guys, we have social media now on Twitter and Instagram at the Tier List Podcast. We have our great sponsors, Anchor. Check them out for us. We also have Google Podcasts, Spotify, and a few more.
Apple Podcast as well now.
Yeah, Apple Podcast. Yeah. What can Anchor not do? They are so great. But remember to like and subscribe to this. And this has been Off the Cuff from the Tier List Podcast. And we'll see you all later.